will go. We are live. So, good evening, everyone. And this is the Lunenburg Select Board's Christmas show of Tuesday, December 15th, 2020, 7 p.m. In accordance with the requirements of the open meeting law, please be advised that this meeting is being recorded and broadcast over the Lunenburg Public Access Channel. The town of Lunenburg, in response to the COVID-19 pandemic, is currently following the guidance from the Lunenburg Board of Health, Massachusetts Department of Public Health, and CDC regarding the virus and steps communities can take to prevent its spread. All town facilities are open currently by appointment only. In accordance with the governor's order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 20, all public meetings are being conducted remotely. This meeting will be broadcast live through Local Access Channel on Facebook Live on the Public Access Facebook page, and will be able to be found on the Lunenburg Access YouTube channel within 24 hours of its conclusion. If you want to join tonight's meeting and participate in the meeting, you can join with a smartphone, computer, or tablet using the Zoom application, which everybody I'm sure by now is familiar with. And tonight's webinar ID is 909-174-0347. If you wish to participate and do not have access to a smart device, but you have access to a phone, you can call in by dialing 888-475-4499. And once again, the webinar ID is 909-174-0347. For those participants who wish to speak during this meeting, if you are using a smart device and using the Zoom application, please locate and familiarize yourself with the raise your hand option. For those who are on telephone, you may use the raise your hand option by dialing *9. I will see, as the host, I will see your hand raised and I will call on people to speak at the appropriate time. The agenda lists all topics which may be discussed at the meeting and are those reasonably anticipated by the chair. Votes may be taken as a result of these discussions. Not all items listed may in fact be discussed, and other items not listed may also be brought up for discussion to the extent permitted by the open meeting law. So with that call to order, I will do a roll call vote. Ms. Adams.
Here.
Mr. Dwyer.
Present.
Mr. Marino.
Here.
Mr. Jeffries.
Here.
I too, as chair, am present. And we have Madam Town Manager. You are with us, correct?
Correct.
Excellent. All right, I will hand it over to our Pledge of Allegiance expert for the leading us in the pledge.
Okay. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So do I have any public comment this evening from the board?
Yeah, my comment's just informational that I have to head out at 8 o'clock tonight.
Okay.
Okay.
Ms. Adams?
I have a small one. I just wanted to say, when I stood outside the town hall today trying to get in, I thought it looks really pretty. So thank you to whoever did the window boxes and wreaths. It's very nice.
And I want to thank two groups. First of all, I want to thank the Salvation Army for their very successful boot drive on Saturday from 10 to 2. From what I understand from the people who organized it, Lynette Valentine of the Salvation Army and Dave McDonald, who orchestrated everybody being, who worked it, that it was the most successful boot drive they've had. That he could recall ever for a 4-hour period. So I don't have the exact number. I think there was an email sent around of what the exact number raised. I think it was just shy of $8,000 or something. So that was great. I was very happy. I know Mr. Dwyer was there too. I was very happy to participate in it. And, you know, it's all for a great cause. And, you know you're helping people. And what's really fun about those events is that the people who donate and they're passing by, and we had a beautiful day. It was really fairly warm, and the looks on their faces of being able to help and the smile it puts on people's faces to donate is really, it's really very moving. So I thank everybody who participated, who worked it, everybody who organized it, and everybody who donated. It was the best 2.5 hours spent in the middle of the road in a long time. So I appreciate the ability to do that. I know they have other ones around Fitchburg and Leominster this weekend, so I wish them the same luck and the same success at those. And I also want to thank the police, the fire, and the school departments for putting together the holiday light drive-through, which got postponed because of weather from Saturday to Sunday. But from all reports, unfortunately, I was unable to go through. But from every report I got from everybody I spoke with who did attend, it was absolutely fabulous. And families with kids absolutely loved it and loved driving through it. So I want to thank all of them. It's really tough this time of year with the pandemic and all the lockdown rules to find, quote, normal ways of enjoying the holiday. And while this wasn't necessarily, quote, normal, it was really joyous and a different way to enjoy a replacement of the usual Christmas tree lighting we have at the gazebo. So thank you all who made that happen too, and to all the people that they really gave a lot of joy and pleasure to driving through. Do we have any public comment from the public? Seeing none. Do we have any announcements, Madam Town Manager?
One I'd get to later in my update, but just message was sent around through the townwide email listserv, as well as posted on Facebook, that starting this past Monday, we closed town facilities and they are now open by appointment only.
Okay, that was part of the governor's orders, right? Or our decision?
Our decision.
So there are no appointments tonight, but we do have, we have appointments and then we have appointments. We have no appointments that anybody's coming, scheduling to meet with us, but we have appointments that we need to redo from last week to revote the ratification of the town manager's appointments of the police lieutenant, Jeffrey Thibodeau, police sergeant Joshua Matthew, full-time police officer Jeffrey Hill, and full-time police officer Nicholas Marino. If you explain to us, and well, I think you've explained to us, or me at least, everybody, why we're re-voting these tonight, Madam Town Manager.
So as part of the appointment process through the charter, part of the procedure is that a notice of appointment gets sent to the town clerk that gets posted on the bulletin board. And as part of that requirement, that was not part of this last process. So we're just re-voting as the formality to make sure the proper procedure has been followed. So it would be the same vote and with the same effective dates.
Okay, so unless somebody objects, I know that there's going to be one recusal, so I would like to do 3 of them in one vote. Unless somebody objects, then we'll do this, the last one, to allow one of the selectmen to recuse themselves. Does anybody have object to that process? Okay, so I would entertain a motion to ratify the town manager's appointments of Police Lieutenant Jeffrey Thibodeau, Police Sergeant Joshua Matthew, and full-time police officer Jeffrey Hill, effective April 25th, 2021 for the police officer.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? All those in favor, roll call. Ms. Adams,
Aye.
Mr. Dwyer,
Aye.
Mr. Marino,
Aye.
Mr. Jeffries,
Aye.
and an aye for me. Now I will entertain a motion regarding the full-time police officer, Officer Nicholas Marino, effective April 25th, 2021. I assume that Mr. Marino, like last week, you will recuse yourself from this?
Yeah, I'll be.
Okay, so let the record show that.
So
And
moved.
I would entertain a motion on that ratification.
So moved.
Second.
Second, all those in favor, Ms. Adams,
Aye.
Mr. Dwyer,
Aye.
Mr. Jeffries,
Aye.
and an aye for myself. Okay. Oh, we got good at it the second time. It went a lot faster. All right, so now we have old business, remaining annual license renewals. So there were some renewals that did not come before us because they had not paid last week. My understanding is there only one?
There is only one. There were two that did not renew. One
Okay.
motor vehicle and one common victular.
All right, well, I'll get to the ones that didn't renew, but the one that we now have before us is Conrad's Drive-In Inc., doing business as Conrad's Drive-In. This is for a common victualler license renewal. And they are all paid up and everything is in order for them?
Yes.
Okay, so I'd entertain a motion on the renewal of that common vic license for Conrad's Drive-In.
Sure, I would make okay. Either way.
What? Well, I didn't make a motion, so.
Okay, so I make a motion that we renew the annual license for Conrad's for the common vic license.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor, Ms. Adams,
Aye.
Mr. Dwyer,
Aye.
Mr. Marino,
Aye.
Mr. Jeffries,
Aye.
and an aye for myself.
And they still have December hours.
Yeah, well, now that they have the closed-in area, they can do that. The ones who did not renew for 2021 were a common vic license for a Dippin' Donuts. Is that because it's a change in company? Is somebody else running them now?
Someone is purchasing the business, but they were notified that they still needed to renew.
Right.
But they did not renew it.
Okay. And for a Class 2 auto dealer, KB Agaman from KB Cars LLC on Chase Road did not renew. So for those people who are keeping score. Current business, request to issue proclamation recognizing January 24th to 30th, 2021 as School Choice Week. I got this request that I had the town manager forward to everyone regarding this request. I didn't feel like it should be just my decision and we should look at it as a board. I don't know that I've ever seen this come before the board before, so this is new. But basically, they're asking us to, I'll just read it quickly. It says, we are respectively requesting that you consider joining city and county leaders across the country in officially recognizing January 24th to the 30th, 2021 as School Choice Week in Lunenburg. Issuing a proclamation provides an opportunity to shine a positive spotlight on the K through 12 education options available for children and families in Lunenburg. Last year, more than 550 mayors and county leaders, along with 27 governors, the unanimous United States Senate, and the President issued proclamations recognizing National School Choice Week. National School Choice Week is an entirely non-political and nonpartisan, and we do not advocate for or against any legislation. Our goal is simply to raise awareness among parents of the public and non-public K through 12 education options available to their children. Please let me know if you'll be able to issue this proclamation and help us raise awareness of the importance of opportunity in education. I greatly consider your consideration, et cetera, et cetera. Ms. Adams.
Sure, I had a couple thoughts. One is, we typically are using the term school choice as choicing in and out of the community in a public school sense. I almost get the feeling that the term school choice in this more national thing is being used differently when they describe it as public and non-public options. So, private school or charter school, public school. So I feel a little confused about the term not confused, but National School Choice Week. Using the term school choice, we already assign a different definition to that. Does that kind of make sense to people?
I looked up their website, and from what I could understand, their school choice is really kind of they're endorsing, voucher systems for, public money for private schools.
So that's what
You agree or disagree with that, but that's on their platform, on their website.
I think that's what Ms. Adams was bringing up, is that in
Yeah.
Massachusetts, school choice doesn't mean that, at least not currently.
Right.
So it's a hard thing to endorse just based on the fact that the use of the term school choice is something we already use that term, but not in this context.
And I'm glad you looked that up, because with that, I did not look it up at this point, because when I first came across, my initial response is, number one, this is something for the school committee. I don't know why as a town we would proclaim it. I mean, they can get the school committee to proclaim it for the school district if they wanted, number one. But if they're talking about, private vouchers, vouchers for private schools and diverting money, then I can't support it.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you, Tom. Sorry, Katie, I saw your hands up. I don't have any issue with private schools or anything like that. I think, that's a great choice for a lot of people. I just am not, I wouldn't sign on to something that's going to provide public money for private schools or endorse any sort of view along that lines. Personally.
Ms. Adams.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with each of you so far in the sense that I don't think an endorsement of this is necessary. Anytime somebody says this is not political, you're but wait, then what am I endorsing? Without some sort of presentation or some sort of, actual concept or how it would apply to us specifically, I don't see any reason that our name or our town should be applied to this. And then another thought, and it's just sort of, more information than necessary, but this year in particular, nobody can really understand enrollment in education, and everybody's just sort of working through the most complex educational experiences of their lives, no matter where they are. And so anything that it has a platform or is being worked on, I think it's become very abstract, and it's just not the right time.
Mr. Jeffries.
Yeah, I take probably a different view. So I think, looking at what the language of the proclamation is, aside from whatever group is promoting this, I think the language is pretty clear. It's promoting education and a diversity of options. My own experience, I have many nieces and nephews that use the school choice. They go to charter schools because it better suits their learning style, and they're thriving. Certainly, none of them are residents of Lunenburg. I do support public money being used for private schools. It sounds like I'm in a minority view on that. Certainly, I think that we need to do what we can to promote our current school system, but I do understand that people may be in situations where, the school system, as great as it may be, may not meet their child's needs. And they may not be in a financial situation where, they can afford to send their kid out of, to a different school. So not that we're having that debate here today, but I do think broadly that there are circumstances in which that's necessary. There are many kids who need out of school, out of district educational options because of different disabilities that they may have as well. So I do support us advocating and proclaiming, school choice week based on the language as it's written. It doesn't delve into any of that, anything about public money for private schools. It simply just states that, Lunenburg's a home to a multitude of high quality public and non-public schools from which parents can choose. And I believe that that's accurate. So I'm in favor of this proclamation, but I certainly will not push this issue. And if I'm in a minority view, then I'm comfortable moving on.
Before we go back to Ms. Adams, Mr. Marino, do you have anything to weigh in on this?
Again, I agree with Todd. I did a little research on that too, and I'm a little unclear. I mean, believe me, I totally support school choice in any form, and but this here just doesn't sit right with me. I feel like, I think Ms. Adams alluded to, it's I don't know, it just seems like it seems more political than what they're trying to make it out to be. So I don't know if I could support it. It seems like a big money-making idea, and it may be, I think it may be political more than they're saying. So, I'm not going to support it.
Ms. Adams?
Yeah, and I think based on sort of, us having a little bit of a discussion here, the important thing of not supporting the endorsement, it doesn't weigh in on whether or not we support alternatives to education or alternatives funding or charter schools. That's really, I think, outside of our jurisdiction anyways, in some ways, but it's so not endorsing, I don't think speaks to the fact that we don't support other concepts or, it doesn't to the personal opinions. I just don't think the endorsement is something that our board needs to be involved in, regardless of how we personally feel. And so I guess for the sake of, does it need a motion to not support, or do we just?
Nope. If nobody makes a motion to support it, then we're not going to support it. So it doesn't need an active motion, no.
Okay.
So I have a sense from everybody that nobody's going to make a motion. That's certainly not one that's probably going to pass, but they can certainly try. I'll leave this silence here for that.
I would,
Mr. Marino.
Mr. Chairman, I'm really torn because it seems like a private organization raising money, and whenever that happens, not all the money goes towards the cause. That's my problem with that. I might be totally wrong. I hope I'm not, but if I am, then at that point I would support it. But there's really not enough information, I don't think, to be able to support this at the present time. And I want to be clear again that there's nothing to do with my support of school choice.
Yeah, that's fine. I think there's people on here who echo that. And again, I've never had this before, so it's not like a known thing. And I think it's more in the purview of other boards, other elected bodies than the Board of Selectmen anyway. So if other people want to venture into it, I will harken back to something Ms. Adams said, about if you go out of your way to say you're non-political or nonpartisan, not that it's 100% true, but often it falls into the H.L. Mencken quote when he told the stories that if somebody comes up to you and they say they have something to ask you, but it's not about money, generally it's about money. So, in the same regard, the approach is not something that I feel comfortable with. And the topic is something that's more suited to other elected bodies for me. So, okay, so we'll just move on from that. Number 2 on current business. This was just to get a good sense because we have a light agenda. It is not meant as filler. It's meant as a real agenda item, but something that we don't have a lot of time and a lot of other meetings to do, which is if there are agenda items that you have not, that you would like to see on the board that we have not discussed already, that they're already going to be on a future select board meeting, this would be the time to bring them up, that you'd like to see a meeting about X, Y, or Z, whatever the topics are, and we can, fulfill them. Of course, you're always available to send emails to me at any point, but I figured it would be a time if anybody wanted to discuss future agenda items and not. If nobody has any, that's perfectly fine as well. I just wanted to open the floor. Ms. Adams.
Okay. In terms of an agenda topic, it's a little bit probably in the capital planning realm. I was having a thought the last few days about building use versus building envelopes. I feel like the Ritter building is at that tipping point where it's starting to look shabby and it's really tipping. There's different trim areas that are deteriorating. And I know we've been through a lot over the last, 5 to 10 years with the concept of building reuse. But regardless of what the buildings become, I really think we got to focus on building envelopes, making sure they're secure and that the buildings look aesthetically pleasing. They really go together because there's a point in building deterioration where it goes too far. And for whatever reason, every time I pass the Ritter the last few weeks, it's really drawing my attention that it seems to be looking in more and more disrepair. So I didn't know, because building reuse always creates so much, confusion. if we could maybe put a little bit of focus into talking about the building envelopes, what kind of money they need and what kind of support the exteriors need to protect them as we sort through what each one will be.
I will tell you that tonight at the capital planning meeting before this meeting, that the DPW director presented the 5-year requests, and a lot of these items were on that. Not necessarily the detail work, but the envelope work that you're talking about, roofing work and facade work and things of that nature to protect the envelope of the building. So it is in being done and being addressed, at least as far as being proposed. And then the funding, of course, is a different matter. We have to do it with available funding. I'd say that you should submit this to the capital planning and also to the DPW director and the town manager as just something. I don't know that there's something directly that the Board of Selectmen can do, except, of course, I support maintaining the envelopes of the buildings, but a lot of that has to do with the money available in town meeting votes. Madam Town Manager.
Through you, Mr. Chair, just to add on what you had said, at the end of the capital planning process last year, it was discussed that a focus would be building envelope projects. And when I met with the DPW director, when he was putting together the capital plan, that was a focus to separate out building envelope projects for each of the facilities and to use the Vertex reports as the foundation, because those identified envelope type projects and interior work, as well as mechanical systems and such. So that was a primary focus and priority in the facilities portion of the capital planning process.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Jeffries.
Yeah, I'd like to discuss a process by which residents can come to us to request permission to discharge a weapon on public property, and I'd like to discuss what that approval process would look like or should look like. Okay,
can we jot that down? So that's, you're talking about to the current general bylaws that allows us to give permission, and you want to
Yes.
know what that process would be.
Yes.
Okay, so we can put that on a future agenda. Anybody else have any other items they'd like to add? Again, you could add them at any point. I'm just using this as a kind of a catch-all area.
Sure. I mean, you were saying new ones, but I never mind seeing old primary on. I know we're working towards that anyways.
Yeah, that's the one that's already, yeah, that will be on, yeah.
And then we got into a pretty good spot with a philosophical discussion of reappointments. And is that going to be back on?
Yeah, that's a goal. That's definitely going to be back on.
Yeah,
That's a goal
okay.
of ours. I think I asked everybody to, over the next couple of weeks, to provide
Homework.
what they would like their process to be. And again, a lot of what we do here publicly is built on the foundation of what we don't do when we're not on TV or on Zoom. And that is that preparation. So the more people provide things, we can review them and come up with a procedure. So that gives me a good opportunity to say, please come up with that procedure, that if you were the only person determining it, please let me know what it would be. And then we can compare all of them. And I'm sure there will be an agreement in most places, and there'll be some disagreement. And then we can discuss the disagreements and then come up with a final process. Mr. Marino.
Yeah, to that end, I've been doing some research. So I started looking at what other towns with similar populations and so forth were doing in terms of their policies with regards to making appointments. And I've got a lot of notes already compiled. And I don't think we're really that far off the mark, but I think we might want to get a little more detailed with our policy, not too much more, but a little more.
Yep.
So when that happens, maybe I'll have some more information for you. And I actually, I ran across a selectman's policy having to do with hunting on property in control of the Board of Selectmen, Mike. So I can pull that back up, I suppose. It's something I just read it. I didn't copy it, but I can find it again.
Sure.
And that was kind of interesting as well.
Excellent. Ms. Adams?
Okay, possible agenda topic. We touched upon it with 2 parcels transferring from our control to conservation's control, but there seems to be a lot of long-term planning with land transfers, I guess I'd call it. And I felt like I sort of, heard about it for the first time through a conservation meeting. So I don't know if Heather would be able to put together, an agenda topic where more of a presentation where we'd be up to speed with any type of land transfers that would be occurring for Springtown meeting.
Wasn't the Conservation Commission going, didn't they have an inventory about what land is under our control, the Board of Selectmen in the town right now?
They do, and they were supposed to revisit those parcels. I don't know if they have to date, but I think that was
Well, that's what this agenda item request should come from, is from them. I mean, because we only have limited amount of area that's just open as opposed to town property that has buildings on it already. So we should find out from them what their goal is, them and the Open Space Committee.
There were a few other addresses that were being talked about near Lake Shirley and such. And so I guess just, if those things are occurring through open space and conservation and they involve, land that's under the care, custody, and control of selectmen, that they pop up as agenda items prior to, just to be inclusive of our, I don't know, I guess just, it would be nice for us to know.
Sure. Okay. And again, as people have come up with things, you can always let us know or let me know. So number 3, approval of October 31st, 2020 minutes. That was our Saturday meeting at the old primary school. Has everybody had an opportunity to read those minutes? And I would entertain a motion regarding those minutes.
Make a motion that we approve those minutes.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor, Ms. Adams,
Aye.
Mr. Marino,
Aye.
Mr. Dwyer,
Aye.
Mr. Jeffries,
Aye.
and an aye from me. All right, last week I signed some warrants. An accounts payable warrant in the amount of $531,746.32. A payroll deduction warrant in the amount of $594,135.92. And a payroll warrant in the amount of $899,626.01. On the subject of signing things, everybody should have gotten word that we are still looking for, I think, 3 signatures on what documents? Is this the Lanny?
The APR.
The APR,
So I believe we have everyone's signatures now. At least we have a majority of the board. So,
Okay.
and yes, as well as the license documents.
Yes, so everybody's got to come in for Conrad's now. I will thank Mr. Lead for that I have to come to the town tomorrow to sign something for. All right. Action items. Anybody have any action items? I have one. So we got some correspondence, just a 30 seconds of history here. We agreed to waive our right of first refusal on 300 Holman Street that came before us, and the board agreed to that in the amount of the sale purchase. We have been requested to add one little piece in there because we put a lump sum instead of by lot, and the owner of the property with their lender is looking for us to acknowledge that it was 4 lots, so each priced at X, which still keeps the same grand total. To me, it seems, and to our town council, it seems like a ministerial thing that does not require another vote. I am willing to do that. I agree with him, but I did not want to do that without passing it by the board. If anybody objects to inserting the fact that we acknowledge that it's, a certain amount per lot, which is the grand total divided by 4. I don't have the exact number in front of me, but it doesn't change anything about our waiver and nothing else about the document. Does anybody object to me going in and re-signing that with that extra clause in there?
No.
Can you run through it one more time? I remember there was something about this that they had never, I don't think the land was officially surveyed, and they hadn't defined some boundaries in terms of.
That was your objection at the time, and the town council said that it didn't require that.
It was a very large parcel, but they were only defining a certain piece of it. So now that
it was 8 acres, I believe, that they were carving out. I don't have the document in front. Do you have the document, Madam Town Manager?
Let's see.
I guess my mind's just tripping on what it is they're asking us to do differently, because something seemed funny about it the first time to me.
We agreed to all the terms about it, and these are not the actual numbers, but let's just use these. We said we would waive the right to their they had a sale, a bona fide sale in front of them for, let's just call it $800,000. What they're asking us to say is that $800,000 comprised of 4 lots of $200,000 each. That's what they're asking us to add, in effect. So they're just adding us to say that we acknowledge that it's 4 lots totaling that much. So it doesn't change the total amount at all. It's just
defining the lot size or the amount of land, because I know that the parcel that is in chapter is very large, right? And just a piece of it was being removed, but they weren't being very clear about the amount.
Yeah, the part that's being removed is not being changed. Nothing about the what they presented as the point of sale and the map that they provided, none of that is changing. It's just a wording change. Madam Town Manager.
I would just add that what they're asking to be included was also in the P&S that accompanied the right of first refusal. So what they're asking to be inserted is that the said parcels of land are intended to be sold for $87,500 each, for a total of $437,500. So that language, what they're inserting is the $87,500 each. All of that information, which was in the original P&S agreement.
So without objection, I will just sign that. Again, it changes nothing about our desire to buy the property anyway, and the deal itself has not changed in any regard. It's just that wording. Okay. Any other action items? Any committee reports? I do have one. I kind of spilled the beans before with the capital planning, but we had a capital planning where we heard from the DPW director, who went over 3 categories: infrastructure, facilities, and vehicles. All of them were laid out for a 5-year plan, some being in 2022, 23, 24, and 25. That meeting, there was no surprises there. The vehicles are being requested are, what you would expect from the cycle of vehicles. There was the facilities were, as Madam Town Manager noted, were a lot of the buildings were about the Vertex study that he cited specific items in the Vertex studies for the various buildings that he is addressing in certain years. I will say that the amounts over the 5 years are, they're not insubstantial. They're we're looking at money to keep up the town and at our town. So there's probably over $1 million a year in most of those years, maybe more, all total, probably $1.5 million each year just for their requests. So there's going to be a lot of prioritizing as there always is with capital planning as we go forward. But I think this was the last of the presentations. So on the 29th is our next meeting between Christmas and New Year's. We will start talking about priorities and start talking about, funding. We're going to prioritize first without any known funding amount. That way we'll have a list. And then when the town manager comes up with funding amounts, we'll be able to just reference the list and see how far down we can get with what we're budgeting. Mr. Marino.
Not sure if this is the right time to bring this up, but sort of like a committee, I suppose. This property on School Street, the old primary school. I did have some success with respect to finding somebody who would who's some kind of rendering for us, and I actually put that on the town manager to facilitate that.
Sure.
I don't think that was brought up. I just want to let the other board members know that.
No, this is a good time for it. Action items is a good time for that. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, no, I guess we're on committee reports. That probably is it. That's
Yeah.
just. No, that's excellent news. So let's, yeah, that's great. Mr. Jeffries.
Yeah, so for committee reports, let's see, I'll start with TCP, redesign committee. So the TCP redesign committee met yesterday, and we are going to be meeting again on Thursday. So where we are at is as following the presentation at town meeting, which was a review of the schematic design of the building, and we're now delving a little more into the weeds so that way we can come up with a cost estimate, and that's what we're working toward. So it's kind of broad right now. The discussion we were having the other day was about furniture, with the expectation is to be able to identify, those kind of furniture needs from the different departments. Also, for us to come up with a generalized, middle of the road approach to costs. That way, as we get to the point where where these costs are fully developed, that the committee then can decide, the materials in those areas where you can make further cuts to decrease costs, or different areas to make more improvements that would then increase costs. So, that work is ongoing. Again, the committee meets again this Thursday at 5:30. It was a relatively short meeting. The library is also meeting this Thursday at 6:45. I'll be at that meeting as well. So a couple good points. Oh, before I switch over, the TCP also, we did receive a talent bank form from a member at large. So we may, if nominated by the moderator, we may be looking at an appointment to fill that committee soon for TCP. For the library, they're meeting this Thursday at 6:45. Libraries, making good progress, good reports on usership, even during COVID-19, which is excellent, especially with the the ability for people to kind of remotely check out books. One of the improvements that they're making over there is they've implemented a share drive that goes into effect this month. So then that's going to work similar to our share drive that we use for documents, same kind of concept, but for them to use for library. With them having a new member, it's highlighted the need for there to be better transfer of information. Also, at the last meeting of the library, I didn't report this, the library did give their review for Muir, and the library trustees are extremely happy and pleased with Muir's performance as the library director, and they did go ahead and approve a raise for him that fits within their current budget. Also, there's an MPO meeting tomorrow that I will attend, and so at our meeting in January, I will provide an update on that, and hopefully I'll have more information on a definitive timeline for when the bridge that is on Route 70 that connects from basically that crosses over Route 70 to allow people from Lunenburg to get onto Route 2 east. Hopefully I'll get an update on where we're at with that. The last estimate was 4 months, and that was a month and a half ago.
I think it's open. I think it's currently open.
was not aware of that they've already fixed that. That's excellent.
Yeah, it's open.
Excellent. As you may know, I'm quarantining for 2 weeks, so I
No,
unfortunately.
I only know it because I heard a report. I mean, not that I get out of my house, believe me. So, but yes, I have gotten reports that it is open now. So they
Excellent.
did it way ahead of schedule of what they expected.
Okay, that's good news.
Yeah, it is.
Thank you. And
Is
that's
that-
all I have.
Sure, I had a question with the makeup of the TCP Building Design Committee member at large. Did we appoint those back when it first happened, all three of them, in conjunction with the moderator? I feel like I remember people coming in. So does that have to go back through us?
Yes.
Okay. I thought you had said that the moderator was appointing a new member at
Oh,
large.
nominating. He said the town the town moderator has to nominate them. Yeah.
Okay, and then it comes before us.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Jeffries.
You're welcome.
Any other committee reports? Okay, town manager report and COVID-19 update.
Okay. I'll start with the town manager report, the announcement of the existing vacancies. There's a vacancy on the Architectural Preservation District Commission, one vacancy on the Cultural Council, one vacancy on the Historical Commission, one vacancy on the TCP Building Design Committee, the member at large position that was just discussed, and one associate vacancy on the Zoning Board of Appeals. Interested people can fill out an application form these forms are found on the town website and can be returned to the select board's office. An update on the purchase of streetlights from Unitil. We have received an updated value of the street lighting assets from Unitil as of November 30th, 2020. And that value is $89,161.56. Unitil relayed that this value will change either up or down until the transfer of title on the assets has been recorded. And there will be a truing up of the final cost after the transfer, which could take an additional 60 to 120 days. If the town owes Unitil for any additional costs, Unitil will bill the town. And likewise, if the town is due a credit, Unitil will then issue the town a check for the difference. As part of the next steps, the step of the process, I provided Unitil with our legal counsel's contact information so that their legal counsel can communicate directly regarding necessary documentation.
Am I missing something? Are public, are street lights a commodity like pork belly futures or something? How much can street lights change in 120 days? They're a metal fixture and a light. I mean, the fact that this pudding like this is it's the silliest thing I've heard. And I've heard some silly things from Unitil, but this has got to be one of the top, I have to tell you. They can't tell us how much it's going to be, and it's going to change from 60 to 120 days.
Shoot the messenger.
I know. There's just sometimes the absurdity just bubbles to the top, and you just can't restrain. Because it's the most silly thing I've ever heard.
Yeah, I think I don't know if they act in good faith enough, but
exactly.
But what's the would you mind reminding us, Madam Town Manager, the amount that we were expecting this to be?
91,000 is what we appropriated at town meeting.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. An update on 925 Mass Ave. I received notification from Mass Development that we did not receive the funding for the grant application I submitted in September through the Brownfields Redevelopment Funding Program. I spoke with Mass Development about the process going forward, and they are very interested in this site as a project, but we are not yet at the point that we would be eligible for this funding. So I will continue working with Mass Development and submit a application again in concert with their guidance given.
Did they give any indication about why it doesn't qualify now and what we can do to help our chances of qualifying?
I believe it has to do with purpose of redevelopment and as well as at the point of the application, all the appendices for our phase 2 site assessment were completed. So that was another component as well.
Thank you.
but they said, don't lose hope. This is something where this is a prime site for this program. So gave me a lot of hope that it will eventually be funded.
Excellent.
Pleasant Street over Pearl Brook Bridge Replacement Project. We received 8 bids in response to the invitation to bid for the Pleasant Street over Pearl Brook Bridge Replacement Project. The low bidder was R. Bates and Sons in the amount of $294,855, and they were deemed a responsible qualified bidder. A notice of award was issued to the contractor, and we are currently in the process of finalizing a contract. And this project is slated to be completed no later than October of 2021.
I think me interrupting you made you skip over a section.
Oh, yes, sorry. Update on the fiscal 21 state budget. The governor signed the fiscal 21 state budget on Friday, December 11th, and the Division of Local Services will be sending out the cherry sheets by this Thursday. We were notified by Representative Sina's office that Lunenburg was the recipient of one earmark in the amount of $25,000 towards upgrading the fire alarm system at the primary school. And as you may remember, we have $100,000 in a bond bill of the Chapter 151 of the Acts of 2020 for this same project. So we'll attempt to continue to go through our legislators for the release of those bond bill funds that would have to be signed off by the governor.
Mr. Dwyer, you have a question.
Sure. Ms. Lemieux, I was just wondering how close the bid for the Pearl Brook Bridge replacement was to the engineer's estimate.
It was close. I would have to pull that up. I can by the end of the meeting.
Okay, thank you.
And disposition of parcel 7 of 671 West Street. As discussed and agreed by the board, our office proceeded with putting out to bid parcel 7 of the town-owned land at 671 West Street. This was advertised in the local newspaper, and the person that originally inquired about this parcel was told that it was out to bid as well as the other abutter that was directly adjacent to this parcel. Today was the due date for bids, and we did not receive any bids. So due to the lack of the response from the original party that inquired about purchasing this property, I'm recommending that we do not proceed any further.
So they asked us if we should sell it, or if we could sell it. We told them, yes, we have to go through the process, but then they didn't offer any interest in buying it. Okay.
For my time, Julie's time.
Yep. Okay.
Meetings, events, and other announcements. Some of these have already been announced, but the school committee has a meeting through Zoom on Wednesday, December 16th at 6:30 p.m. Conservation Commission has a meeting on Zoom Wednesday, December 16th at 7 p.m. The APDC has a meeting through Zoom on Wednesday, December 16th at 7 p.m. The TCP Building Design Committee is meeting again this Thursday, the 17th at 5:30 p.m. The Library Board of Trustees has a meeting on Zoom Thursday, December 17th at 6:45 p.m. And the Historical Commission has a meeting on Zoom Thursday, December 17th at 7 p.m. I also wanted to add on to what Selectman Marino had said, thanking him as well as Chief Gamble, who had a contact, who he's married to at Monty Tech, who put us in touch with the CAD instructor. And so I have been emailing, and we just got to set up a time where we're both available due to his class schedule and my meeting schedule to discuss this project.
Yeah, I guess we should, in preparation of that or after your initial meeting, we should talk about what the 5 of us talked about at that walkthrough about what our vision was. And we want somebody to target what that might look like, what our vision was. I mean, so probably want to relay that information and to anybody else who may come forward, just so everybody's looking through it from the same lens.
Perhaps could they put them on an agenda, come to a Zoom meeting and chat about it with us? Or do a site walk again before the drawing?
Yeah, I would think they would want to do a site walk to see the property. So we can definitely, I will keep you updated on
With
it.
snowshoes or something?
I was going to say it's going to be a little bit tricky after tomorrow night.
Hey, I'll be there.
Okay, cool. And do we have a COVID-19 update?
Yes. And before I move on to that, I just also wanted to add on to your comments about the boot drive and the holiday lights drive-through event. Both were very well received. I heard a lot of good feedback from both. So I want to thank everyone involved, including Chairman Alonso and Selectman Dwyer, as well as our police and fire departments. The parks director had a big part in the holiday drive-through, as well as the school, the business organizations, everyone who put that together. It was really heartwarming to see all the pictures and hear good feedback about that event. So, thank you. On to COVID. So the Board of Health issued their weekly update, and the cumulative laboratory confirmed number of cases as of December 11th is 280. And the state report shows 259 as of December 8th. The town facilities, as mentioned earlier, are now closed to the public, but are open by appointment only. And this was done as a precautionary measure in response to the rise in positive COVID cases generally, as well as amongst staff at different town facilities that have tested positive or have had to quarantine due to being in close contact. So for the health and safety of both employees and the public, it was deemed to be the best move at this time to close the facilities by appointment only. That went into effect on December 14th. And anyone who would like to visit a town office, the contact information for each department can be found on the town website at www.lunenburgma.gov. And this will be in effect until further notice. I have no other updates regarding COVID-19.
Thank you. As I said at the beginning, joked that this was our Christmas show because we have no meetings for now till the end of the year. So our next meeting is January 5th. And then we will have a workshop on the 12th. That will be with the APDC about the old primary school. And then we'll go back to our normal schedule at that point. Do we have any public comment from the public this evening? Seeing none, do we have any public comment from the board this evening?
Just Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to everybody, but I did my big one last week.
Yeah, we should have rewound it. We should have played it. It was very good last week.
Thank you.
Yeah, I just want to say to everybody out there, you know, these are obviously very unique times, and unique is probably an understatement. And I wish everybody out there hopefully is somehow ignited by the season, whatever it is you celebrate, and that you take care, that you stay well, and that you stay safe, and you keep everybody else as safe as you can while still enjoying as normal a holiday as to be expected. I wish all of you a great holiday and a happy new year, and may 2020 be behind us quickly. That's all we can say. Mr. Dwyer.
I just want to wish everyone a wonderful holiday season, and to ask everyone to be extra careful in the snow. We're going to get a big storm. It seems the beginning of every snow season, people have to relearn how to drive in snow. And so slow is good when we're dealing with the snow.
Excellent.
Boys.
All right, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor, Mr. Dwyer,
Hi.
Ms. Adams,
Aye.
Mr. Marino,
Aye.
Mr. Jeffries,
Aye.
and I for myself. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and we did hit Mr. Jeffries' timeline here, right at 8 o'clock. So have a great holiday, everyone. Thanks and good night.
Merry Christmas, Dave. Good night.
Right.